Hello and welcome to Newsroom Charcha, HW News' weekly podcast where we get our team together and discuss some of the trending topics of the week that has gone by. I am Shubham Chohan. Joining me today is our managing editor Sujit Nair. Hello Sujit.
Hi.
We have Shashank Nair with us. Hi Shashank.
Hi Shubham.
We have Jash Hirani with us. Hello Jash.
Hi Shubham.
And making her debut on the podcast is Amina Ansari. Hello Amina. Amina is, many of our viewers, listeners must have seen Amina already on the English channel. She does news reports on a daily basis. So we are 5 of us today, and on the agenda, I think the biggest news this week is a heartbreaking news for all Indians. If you are watching what is happening in Paris at the Olympics, Vinesh Phogat, the wrestler, all hopes were pinned on Vinesh Phogat to get that gold medal for India in the 50 kg wrestling category. And a few hours before the final, it was found that she was a few grams overweight. And as a result of that, she was disqualified. And her Olympic run, she said that it was her last Olympic previously, and then subsequently announced her retirement as well. So pretty heartbreaking news on the Vinesh Phogat front. I think Shashank, you want to go first? Your thoughts, your reactions on the Vinesh Phogat story.
नहीं, बेहद ही दुख की बात है यार. मतलब जिस तरीके से कोई भी स्पोर्ट्स हम फॉलो करते हैं तो मतलब 5-6 साल की मेहनत होती है. उसका लास्ट ओलंपिक था तो काफी दुख की बात है. और इसमें एक चीज है कि उसने लास्ट तक जो है लोग अपना जो कंटिजेंट गया था वो कोशिश कर रहा था कि ऐसे ना तैसे चीजें कुछ हो जाए. और अभी मुझे लगता है ऑर्डर जो उन्होंने डिस्प्यूट क्लेम किया है वो अभी जो है रिजर्व कर दिया गया है. तो अभी भी उम्मीद है, देखते हैं.
I think we are recording this podcast on a Saturday evening. In a few hours from now, the verdict is expected to come out. Like Shashank said, this matter has gone to a court of arbitration. Top lawyers including Mr. Harish Salve, are representing the Indian Olympic Association and Vinesh Phogat. So that verdict at the time of recording this isn't out yet. But of course, we hope for the best in terms of she gets that medal, because just like Shashank said, an athlete or any player works so hard for such a marquee tournament on a day-to-day basis. They put their bodies through so much. And particularly in Vinesh Phogat's case, the context is so important. In the run-up to what happened before the Olympics, you saw the whole Brij Bhushan scenario that played out, and how she was on the streets of Delhi demanding justice and action against Brij Bhushan. So what do you think? How do you see this playing out?
तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि वो मतलब रेसलर के ऊपर बहुत सारा बैगेज था. एक तो वही कि ब्रिज भूषण वाला, एक तो था ही वो कि उसमें से निकलना था. और काफी लोग क्वेश्चन भी कर रहे थे विनेश फोगाट को उस टाइम पे भी. और मतलब ये टाइम पे तो वो प्रूव कर देती कि मतलब गोल्ड जब जीत के लाती वो, तो एक ब्रिज भूषण और जो उसका जो फ्रेटर्निटी है, जो दबदबा वाला जो होता था उसने, तो उस पे एक थोड़ा सा वो धक्का लग जाता. और एक कहते हैं ना, एक साइकोलॉजिकल विन तो हो ही जाती हो. एक वो तो था ही, और एक वही कि इतने इयर्स ऑफ एफर्ट जो उसका एक झटके में वो लोग ने, अभी तो खैर एडजुडिकेशन में है वो, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि उसको सिल्वर पदक वो लोग दे देंगे. वो लोग ने जजमेंट अभी तक वो करके रखा है, बोलते हैं ना, लिख लिया है वो लोग ने जजमेंट, अभी सिर्फ प्रोनाउंस करना बाकी है.
करेक्ट. और
ये मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूँ कि उसको सिल्वर मिलेगा, क्योंकि अब मैं गलत भी हो सकता हूँ, ये बाद में अपलोड वाला है. हाँ, लेकिन फिलहाल अभी के बेसिस पे मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि उसको क्यों मिलेगा. अगर उन लोग को नहीं देना होता तो वो लोग पहले ही बोल देते कि भाई हम नहीं दे सकते, उससे कोई लार्जर रिपरकशन नहीं होता. लेकिन अगर उनको देना था तो हो सकता है कि आने वाले एथलीट्स भी, हो सकता है कि कोई ऐसा कर दे कि वजन बढ़ जाए और फिर फाइनल ना लड़के या कुछ ऐसे ही सीधा मेडल उनको मिल जाए. तो उन्होंने बोला कि लेट्स वेट एंड लेट्स गिव द मेडल लेटर ऑन. और जो भी मैचेस क्वालिफाई करके वो फाइनल तक पहुंची है विनेश फोगाट, उसको वो सब एकदम लीगली, उस वेट का प्रॉब्लम हुआ नहीं था विनेश को. सेमीफाइनल में भी प्रॉपर वेट था, सिर्फ फाइनल में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हुआ और वो उसको खेलने ही नहीं दिया. तो सिल्वर मेडल तक तो एकदम परफेक्टली उसने खेला ही है.
करेक्ट.
मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि उसको सिल्वर मिलेगा. और हमको मतलब सिल्वर एक्सपेक्ट हम कर सकते हैं अभी. हालांकि वो
it will be too. We'll have to wait. I think by the time this podcast is up, like I said, the order will be up. I mean, when this news broke out, we were all in the newsroom. We saw this, and it was really heartbreaking to see a player who did so much, who really put in the hard yards, and especially when the details started coming out that when she finished her semi-final bout, she was 2.5, 2.7 kgs overweight. She did not have food for the next few hours, did all that she could. But eventually, when such things end in a heartbreak, I mean, spare a thought for the player. How do you see this playing out? Possibly one of the front runners to bag a gold in the wrestling category. That would have been a phenomenal feat to achieve. Don't you think?
Actually, when I saw the first picture when she was admitted in the hospital, the first thing which break my heart was her hair. She chopped off her hair.
Yes.
Got her blood, and she was without clean water for the whole life. So that was heartbreaking. Even if she had lost 100 grams and played the match, I think that would have been difficult for her to fight. Like she lost so much, and for the whole night she was working.
Yeah, she was awake. She was working out, right? Sujit, I think sports can be a great leveler, isn't it? 24 hours back, here she was, Vinesh Phogat. She beat a player who was said to be undefeated from Japan. Then she really stormed her way into the finals. And I remember a statement from Bachchan that 1.5 साल पहले जो बोलते थे कि ये जाट है, ये प्रोटेस्ट कर रही है, एक कम्युनिटी के लोग प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, आज वो वापस भारत की बेटी बन गई है. So from that to in a few hours the Olympic dream just comes crashing down. I mean, what do you think? I mean, as fans, of course, all the Indians that are watching, listening to us, it was heartbreaking to just see that visual that Amina spoke about when she was in the hospital and PT Usha went to check on her. You could see her dejected, distraught, tired. How do you see this wall that had happened?
I see there are two aspects to this. To my mind, Vinesh Phogat is a hero. There is no question about it.
Yeah.
She is a star and she is one sportswoman with tremendous personality. She did what she had to do when she had to do it.
Yeah.
She was on the streets fighting for a colleague, for a fellow wrestler. She was on the streets. When she had to practice, she gave her best, and she went to the Olympics. She was not supposed to be in a natural weight category. She was not put in a natural weight category. The person who was put in a natural weight category, according to the selectors, that person was lost 10-0 and then went into various police case and had to be deported back.
Yeah.
Okay, so she was not in a natural weight category. She played 3 kilo down. She came to the finals, and what a way she came. So in no way has she lost. No way. I think she is a star. To me, had she won the gold, she had not won the gold, doesn't matter. I think she's a star. She's a proud daughter of India, and there's no question about it. So that's one. Second thing, I think this particular incident tells us one very important aspect. You see, we need to understand that sports is not just about the player. When you send 240 member team, out of which 140 is your about 140 or 170 are your support staff.
Yeah.
You see, those support staff should be responsible for something. They're not going to Paris to shop.
Yeah.
You see, this showed that the support staff was absolutely irresponsible because it's their mistake that athlete was 100 grams more. It was their mistake. It was a nutritionist mistake that the athlete her weight was not monitored. When you specifically know her natural weight is 53.
Yeah.
It is not that she just went there and ate there and her weight became 52, whatever, 52.7 or whatever. Okay, her natural weight was 53. Everybody knew it. If they did, then what were they there for? So the nutritionist, the team, the medical staff, their trainers, coach, everybody is responsible for that. In fact, the least responsible in all of this is Vinesh.
Right.
She's the least responsible because she was playing her heart out. She delivered what she was supposed to. She went into that arena and she delivered what she had to. Others didn't.
Right.
So others let her down. So this is what we need to understand. We need to figure out that, listen, gold, we are now, even Pakistan is above us.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact remains that 140 crore of us, where I heard a lot of leaders in our country trying to, strategizing how to win medals, where you say, army ko bhejo, air force ko bhejo, wo karo, ye karo. All this is not how all this is not how medals are won. Medals are won by professional sports management teams, professional sports managers who train people, who identify people, who sends a fantastic infrastructure. Do you know that there was a dog sent with an American gymnast team?
Yeah.
So a dog was sent. Are you aware of that?
Yeah,
Look at the kind of care they take for their team, and the kind of whatever they provide to ensure that they win that gold. So that one gold is weight is worth in gold.
Correct.
You see, so that's something that you need to understand, which has not happened. And that's the most unfortunate part. So for me, like I said, to conclude, Vinesh is a star. I'm absolutely proud of her. I'm absolutely proud of her as a sports person. I'm absolutely proud of her as a personality, as a person. I think she should be an inspiration to a lot of
Absolutely. I think Vinesh Phogat, because particularly after this news came out that she was found overweight, she was disqualified, I ended up reading a lot of articles, a lot of extensively researched and very well written articles from the Express, from Sports Star by the Hindu, and ESPN as well wrote fantastic pieces about the background, where she came from, the Phogat family. In fact, there was a whole film made about her uncle and her cousin sisters, which is the Phogat sister, Geeta Phogat and Babita Phogat. From the humble beginnings in Haryana, in a small village, to then make headlines for allegations of. I remember she was crying when the whole Brij Bhushan episode happened. She was out there. Reporters asked her कि लोग बोल रहे हैं कि आपका तो खेल खराब हो जाएगा इससे. And she was very categorical and very clear in her reply that, look, if I have to spoil my game to ensure that other female wrestlers are safe, I'm more than willing to do it. From that, and I think one thing that really remained constant in her was the fire in the belly that you really talk about when it comes to athletes. So, not just as a sports fan, but in Vinesh Phogat's case, what she's gone through and the context in which this heartbreak happened, I think that is what really hurts. And in her tweet as well, once this news came out, and she tweeted, I think a few hours after that I'm retiring from wrestling. I think, like Sujit said, there is no better way to put it that for us, for Indian fans, no medal. In fact, even if she gets that silver medal, even if she doesn't get that silver medal, she's inspired a generation of wrestlers to just learn the fact that if you want something, your preparation plays such a critical aspect in what you want to do. I remember reading one of the pieces, and they said that, after the whole Brij Bhushan episode, she was put through a lot, especially even from the media. In fact, we as we speak, a lot was said about Phogat, about wrestlers in mainstream media, which was not nice, to say the least. I mean, and she channelized that anger, the fact that Brij Bhushan was still out there with the whole dabdaba tha, dabdaba rahega, and still in the Wrestling Federation of India, it is his loyalists who are part of it. So I think that's really, really saddening as a fan. But one quick question on that is, Sujit pointed out, he talked about the role of support staff. This is a whole top conspiracy hai, purposely kiya gaya hai so that India doesn't get a gold medal. You think there is any basis to that, or is it just anyone? Shashank, Jash, Amina?
I feel like it's a conspiracy.
By who?
To make sure that Vinesh she fails.
she fails.
And after reaching finals, she was disqualified. I think it was purposely done to make sure that she is disqualified. I mean, it's my personal opinion.
Very fair. I mean, it's become a topic of a debate. The role of the support staff themselves, that he, like he rightly said, that this is not the...
Because I'm not sure about this, but I think this is the first time something like this has happened with an Indian wrestler.
Right. I think so. We did some research. There are examples of other wrestlers also, like Dr. Dinshaw Pardiwala, who was the chief medical officer of the Indian contingent. He said that, we knew after she finished her bouts, she was 2.7 kgs above her weight, and we began the process, and we thought that we'd be able to match it. I mean, chopping hair and cutting off the elastic from Vinesh Phogat's costume. That is what it really came down to. Shashank, what do you think? Because पॉलिटिकल चर्चा भी बहुत हुई है कि इसको
पॉलिटिकल इसमें हरियाणा सरकार ने जो गोल्ड मेडलिस्ट को जो पर्क्स होते हैं वो अनाउंस कर दिए है पहले तो ये बता दो, और मोदी जी की तरफ से, प्रधानमंत्री मोदी की तरफ से ट्वीट आया कि हम जो कुछ हो सकता है वो, उन्होंने पीटी उषा को लिखा जो कुछ हो सकता है वो करे। कॉन्स्पिरेसी की जहाँ तक बात है, मैं तो नहीं मानता हूँ इसमें किसी प्रकार का कोई रॉन्ग हो सकता है। मुझे लगता है स्पोर्ट्स है, हम एज ए मतलब इमोशनली सोच रहे हैं उस चीज को लेकर, तो मुझे लगता है कि वो हो सकता है, बट लेकिन ये हर स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन के लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है, और उस तरीके का मैं नहीं देखता हूँ।
जश, ऐसा जो बोल रहे कि मतलब रूलिंग पार्टी के इन्फ्लुएंस में अगर ऐसा कोई कॉन्स्पिरेसी है, मैं बोलता हूँ कि वो लोग खुद का मतलब इलेक्शन भी रिग नहीं कर सकते, तो ये मतलब, और ऐसा मतलब कोई यूजुअली ऐसा नहीं करता है। मतलब ऐसे एनवायरनमेंट में अभी तक हम नहीं आएगी, मतलब इतना पॉलिटिकल, इतना पोलराइजेशन हो, और एक अगर समझो रेसलर किसी मत से एग्री ना करे तो उस रेसलर को हार्म किया जाए, या ऐसा कभी इस स्टेज पे जैसे मतलब बांग्लादेश में हो रहा है वैसा, लेकिन यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं होता। बांग्लादेश में जैसे वो एक मुर्तजा करके कोई कैप्टन है, वो नाम भूल गया,
माशरफ मुर्तजा,
हाँ, उसका घर वर जला दिया था। तो हम वो पोजीशन पे अभी तक नहीं पहुंचे, मैं ये बोल देता हूँ। तो ये, और जब कंट्री की बात आती है, मतलब उस पे एक ही है कि मतलब ऐसा रिगिंग वगैरह नहीं हो सकता मेरे हिसाब से।
हाँ, आई मीन उसमें भी ये था कि conspiracy beyond a point, what I really, even I don't agree that there was really some conspiracy hatched. I think for starters, yes, the support staff needs to be questioned, that if we cannot manage our star athletes, then why are we even there? Why are we aiming for a gold? In fact, for our listeners, like I said, we are recording this on a Saturday. At this moment, we have Aman Sehrawat. He's won a bronze, if I'm not mistaken. Neeraj Chopra has won a silver. That was a fantastic, I think. That was an enthralling final, to say the least. Pakistan won that gold medal.
India was ready for India-Pakistan, but not for cricket this year.
Yeah. India-Pakistan in a different domain. That really came about.
लेकिन उसमें ना एक बहुत अच्छा रिएक्शन आया था, अरशद नदीम के मदर को जब पूछा कि आपके नीरज चोपड़ा के बारे में आपका क्या कहना है, तो उसने बोला वो भी मेरे बेटे जैसा है। हाँ, और बहुत बहुत अच्छे कॉम्प्लीमेंट, नीरज चोपड़ा के मदर से भी बहुत अच्छे कॉम्प्लीमेंट आए अरशद नदीम। तो वो अच्छा है, वो भाईचारा टाइप,
वेरी हार्ड।
हाँ,
and I think it's so heartwarming to see. I love Vinesh Phogat के केस में भी at one point when everybody was right after her abusing her, आज वही लोग they were back and claiming credit, नहीं भारत की बेटी है ये, तो इसने रोशन किया है। What they did 1.5 years ago,
वही है, ये ऐसे टाइप पे पॉलिटिकल पोलराइजेशन नहीं होता है।
हाँ, नहीं, but वो भी है that the same wrestler that you are branding a certain way, when the best way she ends up silencing you guys is, or you guys, I mean her critics is no, not you guys. The best way she ends up silencing people is through her wrestling. So Neeraj Chopra has won a silver. I think hockey, that game was pretty interesting. Hockey mein we got a bronze, correct? Yeah, hockey mein we got a bronze. Okay, I think with any more last comment that anyone would like to add on the Vinesh Phogat issue, or should we move on to the next topic?
No. I think conspiracy-wise, I think what Amina meant by conspiracy is the fact remains that obviously there can't be conspiracy at that league, and there is no conspiracy. But the conspiracy, what she actually meant, I guess, is the fact that people who are supposed to be looking after, they just flew down from India to Paris to ensure that she remains in that weight, to ensure that she is fit. If those people do not do their jobs, the only job that they were taken there for, then what exactly are we talking about? What are these people doing there? I think that is the conspiracy.
What are they doing there?
What
100 grams. I think it cannot be more closer than this. 100 grams is what.
टिकट मैं अभी भी वो सिल्वर आएगा अपने पास.
आ जाएगा यार, but then
मुझे लगता है गोल्ड आ सकता था.
go exactly.
गोल्ड आ सकता.
अगर
She would have got gold.
and his situation, I think even if one thinks of putting himself or herself in the athlete's shoes, is silver का क्या वो what value will it really have?
ये
for
शायद शेयर सिल्वर रहेगा.
shared silver होगा. It's not because the player she defeated in the semi-finals ended up going to the final and she lost to the United States player. But as an athlete, I mean, you always strive for gold, right? And with Vinesh Phogat, you could see the fire that she really wanted that gold. So, again, I think the best way to conclude is silver, gold, no silver, no gold. Vinesh Phogat still remains the champion, and nothing can really define what she has done over the last few months on the field, off the field. So I think we'll end this topic at that. Let's move on to some politics, some hardcore politics. Parliament was adjourned, signed by Jash. I think it was adjourned,
signed by.
Adjourned, signed by. So one day it was supposed to end on Monday. It ended up
Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha दोनों.
It ended up finishing on Friday. So क्या? I think Rajya Sabha में it was Jaya Amitabh Bachchan. I hope I can say that name. Jaya Amitabh Bachchan.
आप क्यों बोल रहे हो?
So Jaya Amitabh Bachchan and Jagdeep Dhankhar. That was quite I mean, every week it's either in the Lok Sabha it is Mr. Birla and some opposition MPs going after each other. In the Rajya Sabha, I've told this so many times, it's opposition MPs and Jagdeep Dhankhar do not go hand in hand. Oh, they cannot be put together. Derek O'Brien, all the other opposition MPs are. It was, I mean, he was blasted. He was blasted, but on a more serious note, Jagdeep Dhankhar, I mean, you are the chair, or even Om Birla for that matter, you are the chair. You're supposed to be, you're not supposed to side with either the treasury benches or the opposition benches. Here we have the presiding officer is blatantly favoring one side. Blatantly. How do you see the whole Jaya Bachchan? Because I think it was Thursday or Friday.
RSS is a global think tank of the highest order.
That's okay. I'm saying that you opposition MPs, Jaya Bachchan, I mean, keep the whole Jaya Amitabh Bachchan controversy aside. if what happened on Friday, I think where she's Friday only.
Friday.
She said कि मेरा आपका टोन जो है वो
मैं सेलिब्रिटी हूँ, मैं बॉडी लैंग्वेज समझती हूँ.
Yeah,
आर्टिस्ट.
I mean, yeah.
Artist, sorry, celebrity.
Celebrity का जगदीप ने.
So how do you guys see the role? मतलब presiding officer ऐसे in fact one just last thing before Shashank comes in, opposition MPs, I think it was the Indian Express or the Print that reported that the opposition MPs have decided to move no confidence motion against Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar, although they don't have the numbers for it to really get it passed. So 60 MPs का I think signature आ गए
50 के आसपास ऑलरेडी है. तो इसमें बेसिकली पहले तो ये है कि वेंकैया नायडू को जब हम देखते रहते स्कूल प्रिंसिपल वाली उनसे वाइब आती थी, बट यहाँ पे वो तो लिटरली एक तरीके से जगदीप धनखड़ इस तरीके से दिख रहे हैं कि वो सरकार का पक्ष रखने के लिए कुछ भी अगेंस्ट में बोलने दे रहे हैं. जैसे विनेश फोगाट के बारे में डिस्कशन के लिए जब डिमांड हुआ तो वो भी उन्होंने रिजेक्ट कर दिया था. तो वो पूरी तरीके मतलब वो चेयर का एक तरीके से डिसरिस्पेक्ट हो रहा है उसका काफी एक तरीके से.
एब्सोल्युटली जश
ये मतलब पार्लियामेंट में देख रहा था काफी. ये टाइम यूजुअली होता है ऑपोजिशन वॉकआउट करता है, ये टाइम जगदीप धनखड़ ने वॉकआउट कर दिया.
दैट वाज
मतलब इतना एक वो चल रहा था तलवारबाजी बोल सकते हैं, वर्बल तलवारबाजी फ्रॉम ऑपोजिशन एंड मिस्टर जगदीप धनखड़।
Verbal talwarbazi. Last week it was Bargat ka ped. Now we have verbal talwarbazi. Yeah.
वर्बल तलवारबाजी।
But I mean, I don't. Sorry. I'm sorry. Just
नहीं वही कि थोड़ा जो आरएसएस के लिए भी जो उन्होंने बोला, मतलब वो जरूरत नहीं था ग्लोबल थिंक टैंक ऑफ द हाईएस्ट ऑर्डर बोलने का कि क्या ही लेना देना आरएसएस और राज्यसभा का, और ठीक है मतलब रफा दफा करके आप प्रोसीडिंग आगे बढ़ा सकते, लेकिन
correct. I mean, don't you think the Rajya Sabha is really the productivity of the house is getting affected when opposition MPs are being yelled at in the Rajya Sabha? There's chaos. Opposition is walking out. Like just said, there came a point, and we have that video on our channel where Mr. Dhankhar could be seen. He said, "I don't think I'm capable to sit in this chair. So briefly, I am leaving," and he got up and left. So don't you think it's the Rajya Sabha or even the Lok Sabha for that matter, when such chaotic things happen, it's the productivity really takes a hit, doesn't it?
Yes, true. Productivity plus the expenses which goes in making sure the parliament runs smoothly every day. It's high only. So there is waste of financial resources only which we pay our taxes. So,
Correct.
so yeah. And one thing more, when I see Jagdeep Dhankhar talking or shouting, so I think one thing worries me is that when he shouts, he's old, right? So sometimes I feel
He shouldn't be shouting.
this much because
I think Sujit has kept quiet for. He's watching us intently talk about Mr. Dhankhar, Jaya, Amitabh, Bachchan, and what happened in the Rajya Sabha. How do you see what really happened? And Mr.
BJP expected a very different Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha.
Correct.
What BJP actually got was a very different Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha.
So true.
Point number one. Point number two, Dhankhar was rewarded for being wrong.
Yeah.
Dhankhar was not rewarded for being right. He was not a good governor.
Yeah.
And he was rewarded as the vice president for being wrong. And what he is continuing to do is he's continuing what he did in West Bengal.
Correct.
So, what are you expecting out of it? Number one. Number two is, so is Mr. Birla. See, the point is, in the history of Indian Parliament, it is not that the speaker has not got angry, or it is not that there has not been walkouts, or it has not even been that there has not been even physical altercations at times.
Yeah.
It's not that. But the fact is, in such consistency that's happening now, you see the sheer antagonism, and that too with this kind of consistency, this India has never seen.
Yeah.
And I think this will go into records. I assume that things will change, or I assume that maybe tomorrow we'll see a better day. I assume that there will be a better speaker. I assume that there will be a better parliament. I assume that there will be an opposition will not be seen as an enemy, but as somebody who has a different point of view. I assume that will come back to India the way it was once upon a time. And I think I and Jash, we always talk about that Sushma Swaraj and the banters that they would have, and it was so fun. Every person would enjoy it. Every person would laugh. They would have a lovely time. I mean, those are like dream times now. We've never seen that kind of camaraderie, that kind of banter, that kind of lately I should say that Kalyan Banerjee and Nitin.
I was missing you, Nitin ji.
At least some smiles and some glimpse of some kind of a camaraderie. But otherwise, this place has been converted into, because speaker is not the speaker of the house. He's speaker of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The clear god of that house is the Prime Minister of India. Okay, it's the Prime Minister of India. So everybody is out to please the Prime Minister of India. And that constitutional position is out to please Prime Minister of India. And he would do anything, possibly take any decision to please the Prime Minister of India. And that's the problem. That's the real issue.
But why would the speaker please the Prime Minister? That's not the job, right?
You saw how he met the Prime Minister?
Absolutely.
You saw how he greeted the Prime Minister? You tell me, have you heard the Parliament recently?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a minister stand up and say, you know what, I felt this, so I did this, so you know what Gadkari says? I went to Iran because the Prime Minister said me so. You know what Vaishnav says? Oh, we got some 7 lines or 7 trains organized because the Prime Minister just approved it. That means that there is no other system in this country that works except for the Prime Minister. Everything that moves, if there is no finance minister, there is no railway minister, there is no infrastructure minister, there is no defense minister, there is only the Prime Minister. So everything that happens is thanks to the Prime Minister. If that's the way, if that's the ideal worship that is going to happen, if that is the kind of, what else would I call it? I mean, if that's the kind of, I don't know, I lack of better words. What do you expect?
No, but then, okay.
It is, I have never seen in the parliament, somebody going Modi, and all this. It's a parliament for crying out loud. It's not a rally. It's a parliament of this country. So, this kind of idol worship, this kind of, psychophancy, I don't know. Till recently, some other party and some other people were called psychophants.
Yeah.
If this is not psychophancy, what is? So, and it is percolated and even elevated. It is percolated to the last MP of that particular party, and it is elevated to the speaker of that house. That's what it is. So, what? I don't see any changes. The whole protest is not because they will win or lose. The whole protest is because there is a protest. Yeah. This is what you do so that it is kept on record that this man was, the speaker was, they wanted to impeach him. There was a no confidence motion against the speaker. It will be put on record tomorrow. If there's a government that allows real history to be recorded, then that history books will have that this particular speaker was
not partial.
No,
was not.
There was a no confidence motion against it. That's the reason why this happens. That's the reason why they have that no confidence motion.
No, but Shashank, I would like you to come in on this. When Sujit talked about the ministers would be expected to really praise the Prime Minister because they are part of the government.
No. The minister is expected to praise the Prime Minister when they go for elections, not inside the Parliament. Inside the Parliament, they are supposed to say what they've delivered.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, we don't ministers. We don't need ministers. You have bureaucrats. Bureaucrats can report to the Prime Minister.
But then, if ministers, the reason why I said it is they're even willing to, given the politics that we have seen in recent years, and even willing to discount that. What is more concerning for me is with each passing day, the blatant, the fashion in which opposition MPs are not being allowed to speak, or where they speak, they are being pulled up. Doesn't this then bring down the standard of a presiding officer? So be it Mr. Om Birla in Lok Sabha, or be it he's the Vice President of India. Mr. Jagdeep Dhankhar is the Vice President of India, and he is the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Don't you think that really brings down the standard of the Speaker's office because you're expected to be a certain way, and clearly there comes a point where it stops being funny, and when you look at it seriously, that this is how biased, how partial the presiding officer is, Shashank.
नहीं, मुझे तो लगता है संख्या बल, क्योंकि लोकसभा राज्यसभा में, अभी राज्यसभा में भी मौजूदा स्थिति में बीजेपी के पास बहुमत नहीं है, तो इसलिए इस बार कार्रवाई इतनी ज्यादा नहीं हो रही। ये पिछली बार तो हमने रिकॉर्ड ब्रेकिंग कार्रवाई भी देखी है जो विपक्ष के नेताओं पे हुई है। तो वो मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ, ये दृश्य एक्चुअली इट इज अ साइन ऑफ डिसेंट। वो दिख रहा है कि यार किस तरीके से वो लोग कॉम्बैट कर पा।
मैं वही तो बोल रहा था कि बोला था कि ये जो स्पीकर वगैरह वाज क्रिएटेड फॉर अ डिफरेंट पार्लियामेंट, डिफरेंट राज्यसभा। ये राज्यसभा के लिए नहीं क्रिएट किया था। सो
गुड।
हाँ, बस तो मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि ये तो एक तरीके से डिसेंट है, और मुझे लगता है कि विपक्ष का काम वही है, और उसी तरीके से वो जितना बेस्ट कर सकते हैं उनको लगे रहना चाहिए, और जो मुद्दे हैं उनको उठाते रहना चाहिए।
I think we'll do a couple of more rounds of questions before we wind up. We are 35 minutes into this podcast. Jash, we saw a lot of fights in Parliament this week. One of them was Mr. John Britas and Suresh Gopi really going hammer and tongs. And the point that he talked about, the Sushma Swaraj era, where there was banter. There was respect to begin with, something that seems to have just vanished into thin air in today's politics. Respect for people within your party and people who are outside of your party, who are your political rivals. What does this really say about Indian politics and the standards that it has fallen down to from the famous speeches that used to be made, and people used to really look forward to watching Parliament because of the quality of speakers that we had. Now, I don't know how many people are really looking forward to watching Parliament, but even the ones who end up watching, they get, chalo, theek hai, aaj this person will fight with X person, this person will throw out X person, and this will happen with that. So, what does it really talk about the state of our politics or even the state of Parliament in India?
ये इसमें मैं बताऊंगा कि एक नया चीज डेवलप हुआ है इंडिया में. अगर ये सबने नोटिस किया होगा, ये एक कैंसल कल्चर नाम का है कि आप एक दूसरे को बस कैंसल. ये स्टार्ट लीडर्स है कि ये ग्राउंड लेवल पे सबसे ज्यादा है. लीडर्स में उतना नहीं है, लेकिन सबसे ज्यादा है ग्राउंड लेवल. लीडर्स को आप देखोगे पार्लियामेंट के बाहर मस्त बैठ के चाय वाय भी पियेंगे. अभी एक फोटो भी वायरल हुआ था, पार्लियामेंट जब एंड हुआ था, राहुल गांधी, नरेंद्र मोदी, सब लोग मस्त बैठ के चाय वाय भी पी रहे. लेकिन ये कैंसल कल्चर, आप एक कोई राइट विंगर रहेगा उसको बोले अरे ये तो भक्त है, कोई एक लेफ्ट विंगर रहेगा तो बोले कि अरे ये तो पप्पू सपोर्टर है, या जो भी स्लैंग है उनका, वो आप कोई एक दूसरे का आर्गुमेंट अभी कोई सुनना ही नहीं चाहता है. मतलब
एको चेंबर्स हो गए सब
कि अपना कोई ध्रुव राठी को वो कर रहा है, कोई दूसरे फॉलोअर है उसको वो कर रहे हैं, तो सब एक दूसरे को कैंसिल करने में लगे हुए हैं. किसी वो बोलते हैं ना पार्लियामेंट, एक एग्जाम्पल था, मेरे को एग्जाम्पल याद नहीं आ रहा है थोड़ा, लेकिन यही है पार्लियामेंट में वो दिखाई दे रहा है कि अब वो कैंसल कल्चर आ चुका है कि अब सबको एक दूसरे को सब कट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. मोदी का कोई स्पीच देखोगे तो वो अपोजिशन को कहीं पे कट कर रहा है, कहीं पे वो कर रहा है. राहुल गांधी के स्पीच में भी वही है. कोई दोनों फ्रेंडली बैटर कभी नहीं दिखेगा. कोई फ्रेंडली बैटर जो पहले होता था वो अभी
just trying to interrupt the other person कि वो स्पीच जाए.
तो ये जब तक ये कैंसल कल्चर है तब तक ये ऐसा ही रहने वाला है. और ये मैं तो कहता हूँ ये लीडर्स को जो पार्लियामेंट के बाहर वो दिखाते हैं, वो बीच में अपन ने देखा था गिरिराज सिंह बस केसी वेणुगोपाल को पार्लियामेंट के बाहर. तो लीडर्स का काम है ग्राउंड लेवल पे पार्लियामेंट में पूरा कैंसल कल्चर डेवलप करो, पर बैक एंड में आप मस्त बातचीत करो एक दूसरे के साथ. लेकिन वो एक्चुअली वोटर्स वगैरह थोड़ा सीरियसली ले लेते हैं. और आई होप पार्लियामेंट में थोड़ा वापस से वो ओल्ड डेज आ जाए.
Okay, last question. Was Rahul Gandhi sleeping in Parliament? I mean, was Rahul Gandhi sleeping? No, he was not sleeping.
वो एक्चुअली सो नहीं रहे थे. वो लालू जी ने एक बोला था ना कि वो आग बंद करके मनन कर रहे थे.
So, for context for our listeners, there's a clip of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He's sleeping with his arms on the table. You can see his head down. And there's another clip parallelly of Mr. Kiren Rijiju, who's the minority minister. While he was, I think it's on the Waqf bill. And the camera was on Mr. Rijiju, and Mr. Giriraj Singh was also in frame, and they said, "Arey Dada so again." So you don't know who that Dada was, but
ओम बिरला कहते थे, ओम बिरला ने भी जाए क्या आप बाहर स्पीच दे रहे हो.
So you think Rahul Gandhi was sleeping?
Yes,
No, he was not sleeping. The picture which was shared of Rahul Gandhi, it was clipped. According to Sunset TV, it was around 280 something, and the visual of Kiran Rijiju saying that वो सो रहा है. It was around 3. So
Okay.
Time
difference. Okay, so Amina has
there are multiple videos shared to make sure manipulative.
Okay, so you're saying Rahul Gandhi was not sleeping. Shashank, Rahul Gandhi was sleeping.
Sitting in that position actually.
He was sitting in that position.
Yes.
Casual.
Shashank, was Rahul Gandhi sleeping in Parliament?
देखो बाय द लुक्स ऑफ इट तो मुझे लगता है कि हाँ, मतलब बंदा है, हो सकता है
मतलब
थक गया हो,
करके वो थक गए होंगे. तो
having conversation with other MPs.
Okay, then my other question is, assuming he was sleeping, what is the big deal? Sujit, what is the big deal? If
No. See, first and foremost, if he is sleeping, then I think sad Rijuju. Because if you put somebody to sleep and you speak in such a way that you put somebody to sleep, then I think it is absolutely sad.
It's the orator's
I think
fault.
the orator needs to kind of learn how he speaks. And I think that's one thing. And secondly, I don't think it's a topic I want to talk much about. But I want to talk about this cancel culture, if I allow me.
Sure.
That is a very important point which Jash raised, and I think it's a very valid point too. But the only place where I don't agree to him is that it is not from the ground upwards. It has started from top downwards. You see, there is a feeling that Modi hates Rahul Gandhi. And it's a feeling that Rahul Gandhi hates Modi. That feeling is very clearly evident. You see, there is hatred amongst each other, the politicians. And this even the Sarasanya Charla, the RSS chief said this. It is huge. Yeah. See, look, a third person could observe it. And he is a third person like us. We also sit, I'm sure he also watches on his television. So do we. You see, the point is, and we also meet parliamentarians. So does he. So with the combination of physical experiences and I think it's percolated from top down.
Top down approach.
Suddenly, I know. पीछे तो मस्त सब लोग एक दूसरे
See, that तो कैसे है कि enemies के साथ भी
भाई है मतलब एक दूसरे
वो सब जो that when the speaker was appointed, when Mr. Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi walks in, and the way Mr. Narendra Modi, it looks so pretentious.
Yeah.
And the way Rahul Gandhi reacts also looks so pretentious. It is pretentious. It is that I don't want to really call you dude. I don't even want you standing next to me.
I'm just doing it for the...
Correct. It is so pretentious. It's visible. You see, what happens is when you like somebody, it is visible. And when you do not like somebody, it is visible. Okay? You may tend to pretend that he is your best friend, but it is very visible. And somewhere down the line, cameras don't lie.
Yeah.
And this is visible, and the hatred that is spread. Last week, Shyam Manav was sitting in that chair, and he said, "I got an affidavit where I was asked to, Anil Deshmukh was asked to frame Uddhav Thackeray's son on a rape case."
Yeah.
Is this politics? Framing a young man of 24, 25, 26-year-old man on a rape case? Are you kidding me? This country has not seen this kind of politics before.
Yeah. In fact...
so if this kind of politics is what you're talking about, then what do you expect? Can you imagine the hatred of that opposition leader who could even think of this kind of strategy? Allegedly, I'm saying. I'm not saying we have no proof to say whether it is true or wrong around that, but I'm saying allegedly, if there has been a conspiracy like this, can you imagine the hatred filled in that those two oppositions to frame a young man for a rape and murder and put him behind bars? Zindagi kya? Can you live with that?
Yeah.
Can you live with that? And if that man is innocent, which I presume he is what most of the people say, obviously the fact that there's not been a charge sheet against him, that means he's innocent. You're putting an innocent man behind bars or alleging a rape on a person who is innocent? Yeah. So you know where the germ of this hatred comes from?
Politicians.
It's beyond belief.
Yeah.
And at my age, when I've been seeing politics for quite some time, I have never seen this kind of politics. At least for 30 odd years where I've been following it and understanding it, I have never seen this kind of politics. So,
yeah. In fact, the interview that Sujit was referring to with Shyam Manav, this is a conversation we had on our channel last week. We'll attach that link in the description. Shashank, you get the last word.
ये एक मेरा सवाल है कि जो राहुल गांधी मोदी का पॉइंट उठाया कि राइवलरी वो दिखाना, अगर वो नहीं हो तो मुझे लगता है कि जो ग्राउंड लेवल का केडर है जो झंडा लेके खड़ा रहता हर गांव में, वो क्या उतना मोटिवेटेड रहेगा क्या? अगर उतना दोस्ती वाला संबंध अगर हम देखें तो क्या उतने एग्रेशन से वो खड़ा रहेगा?
नहीं, I mean, वो it's more about where does
वो लाइन खींचना बहुत जरूरी है,
Lakshman
वो मैं
Rekha,
मानता हूँ.
it's where does rivalry end and there's politics, there's rivalry, but then the kind of
Sorry, what was your question? I didn't get it.
मैंने ये सवाल किया कि जैसे आपने कहा कि राहुल गांधी और मोदी, जिस जश ने सवाल उठाया कि एक विलन की तरह दिखते एक दूसरे को, लेकिन अगर वो नहीं होगा तो क्या जो ग्राउंड लेवल का जो केडर है, जो मतलब लोएस्ट डिनोमिनेटर, उसमें क्या वो एंथुजियाज्म होगा कि हाँ मेरे को बीजेपी
इंडिपेंडेंस का बाद कितना साल हुआ आज? We got 75 years. 75 years में अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी और नेहरू के बीच में कोई ऐसा एनिमोसिटी नहीं था. इंदिरा गांधी और जयप्रकाश नारायण के अगेंस्ट भी इतना एनिमोसिटी नहीं था. राहुल गांधी और वीपी सिंह के अगेंस्ट भी इतना एनिमोसिटी नहीं था. पीवी नरसिम्हा राव और अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी शायद वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फ्रेंड्स थे. दे वर पॉसिबली वन ऑफ द बेस्ट फ्रेंड्स. अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी और मनमोहन सिंह के अगेंस्ट भी इतना एनिमोसिटी नहीं था. तो अगर इतने साल हम विदाउट एनिमोसिटी चल सकता है और हमारा ग्राउंड लेवल पॉलिटिक्स भी चल सकता है, तो अभी क्यों नहीं चल सकता?
सर, इसमें एक और पॉइंट मैंने जो पहले बोला था कि इतना पोलराइजेशन नहीं है कि हम विनेश फोगाट के लिए कोई पार्टी वगैरह ऐसा करेगा, लेकिन अगर यही स्टेज से एनिमोसिटी बढ़ता गया तो मे बी एक बांग्लादेश सिचुएशन हो जाएगा. अगर एक आप आइडियोलॉजी के बेसिस पे अगर आप किसी को हेट कर रहे हो, सिर्फ आइडियोलॉजी के बेसिस पे, कि मैंने देखा है कि फ्रेंडशिप्स टूटे लोगों के, तो आपस में तो दोस्त लोग रहते हैं, तो एक कोई
फैमिली क्वेश्चंस खराब हो रहे हैं.
हाँ अरे, तो सिर्फ ये कैंसल कल्चर के इस पे इतना हेट, मतलब अच्छा नहीं है ये.
There's a difference in what you're saying.
हाँ.
You see, ideology, you know what ideology means? Ideology means your political belief, your social belief is ideology. Okay, socialism is ideology, communism is ideology, capitalism is ideology. That's your social belief, that's your political belief. Now, ideology doesn't make you hate or love a person. In fact, ideology makes you differ from a person, but it doesn't make you hate or love a person. You know what happened to us? We mixed ideology with faith.
Yeah.
But faith makes you hate or love a person. So when ideology was mixed with faith, you started hating or loving a person. Friends became enemies when you mixed faith in ideology. 10 years back, or 20 years back, 15 years back, we had people of different ideology, and we never even used to bother. We used to sit out for a drink and we used to have fun.
Yeah.
We never used to bother. We used to have debates, but it never ended up in anything beyond a debate. But that changed because we mixed faith. And that's what the problem was. Faith, you judge. Ideology, you differ. So when judgment happened, anger happened.
ये सर, ये स्टेट लेवल में भी अभी आंध्रा में दिख रहा है, वो एक जन का तो पूरा हाथी काट दिया था.
When it does, I think that's really the sad nature of politics that we are
जो
looking
व्यूअर्स है, ऐसा आप इतना वो मत करो, कोई आपका राइट विंग लेफ्ट विंग फ्रेंड हो तो
friendly advice on that friendly advice note. We'll end this podcast for the week. Thank you so much, Shashank, Jash, Amina, and Sujit, for taking out the time. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, and subscribe, of course, to our channel for more such videos.